annoyed at your just day-to-day activities, because especially in real estate is most of our day is built around rejection. Okay. So if you don't maintain some sort of sense of humor, that will eventually get to you. Now, what do I mean by maintaining a sense of humor? So you call somebody and they say, screw you. And you just hang up and go, well, at least I got a contact. There you go. You're the 20th person that's called me. Wow. I can't believe only 20 people out of 90,000 agents in the MLS have called you. That's amazing. Laugh it off. We used to do this thing a while ago where we had prospecting bingo, and the prospecting bingo board was, things like set an appointment, make certain contacts, but there would be like a box on there, got cursed at, got hung up on. So you'd be like, oh, I got cursed at. Oh, bingo right there. So you have to maintain a sense of humor. Sometimes I laugh at things and people look at me and go, why do you think that's funny? And I'm like, I don't think it's funny. I think it's so outrageously crazy that I just have to laugh about it. So you have to maintain a little bit of a sense of humor in your day-to-day activities or you'll just burn out.
Right? Is it okay to laugh when they curse at us on the phone?
Sure. Why not? I call somebody and they say, screw you, Robert, you're an a-hole. I would just go, all right. Well, you know what? There's a number of people that agree.
Thank you.
There's, I used to, no one ever did some prospecting, but, someone used to say, there's an old line that you're a scholar and a gentleman, right? Like someone do something good and, people's like, oh, you're a scholar and a gentleman. I'm like, well, there's a university in San Diego and numbers of women that would disagree with that statement. So, you have some fun with whatever they say. So they say, screw you, they curse at you, they do all these other things. You go, all right, well, have a great day, sir, ma'am, you can make the most of it. Have a laugh about it. Okay. Just don't let it get to you because it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. So you have to maintain a sense of humor about it. That's okay. Now, be aware though, that if you laugh when they do that, you're going to piss them off more. Okay. Because if somebody's angry and you don't get angry back, that makes them more angry. Okay. They go, rah, 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 and you just laugh and smile. That just makes them more angry. Like, why is this person so damn happy? Why are they so happy? What a bastard. What are you going to do? It's funny stuff. So yeah, I have to maintain a strong sense of humor. All right. Second thing I wrote down here. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to start. Okay. Now, what is that? Now, that can mean multiple things. Number one could be it's never too late to start. So it's never too late to start from an age perspective. Just getting into real estate. Some people got into real estate when they got their license when they were 18 years old. Okay. Some people got their license when they were 50. Some people got their license 60. I mean, there's never whatever. Some people get their license when they're in their 80s. I mean, it doesn't matter. People are living longer. It's never too late to start. So that's number one. Number two is you can even break it down from the even smallest portion of your day. It's never too late to start to do something in your day. Well, I didn't get my prospecting done this morning. Okay, why can't you do it at 2? It's never too late to start your prospecting for the day. Gosh, I missed the 8 a.m. role play. Okay, well, why don't you start at 8:15? Why don't you do a role play at 3:30? Why don't you do a role play at 12:30? It's never too late to start whatever it is you're doing in your day. Oh, I got something I got to do this morning. Okay, great. Then start your work day at 10. There's a number of people. I know we talk about, the ideal work schedule, starting your day at 8 and things like that. I know people. I know people that don't start their day until really their work day till 9, 10, 10:30 in the morning. But they work until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But they're highly productive. That's just their day. Now, I don't suggest that for most people because most people, if you don't start your day by 9:30, you're so groggy and tired that you never get going. Okay. but it's never too late to start. Okay. I want to go into a different marketplace. Okay, go get it. Oh yeah, but I've been in this marketplace for so long. It's never too late to go into that marketplace. I don't have a database over here. It's never too late to build your database. It's never too late to go and do something else. It's never too late to start.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Thank you for saying that it's not too late in the day to start your day, because I've never heard you say that before.
Well, I don't ever say that very often, Elizabeth, because of that point I just made. Is most people, if they don't start their day until later, it either A, never gets started, or B, they're just too groggy and lazy at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they just don't ever get going. But I know people that for the life of them cannot get to bed until 1 o'clock. They're up, they're reading, their things are going on in their head, and they can't get to sleep until 1 o'clock. And so there's no way that they can get up and start functioning at a high level by 7:30, 8 o'clock. So they don't start till 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. But they work later and they're very productive. It's not a highly likely thing, but there are people that do it. You just have to find what works for you. But it's never too late to get going, get started, whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay. You could be at a certain age and go, I've never opened a social media account in my life, but I really want to get started. Then get started. Because if you take the opposite, that it's too late to start, that means you get complacent. And complacency will never get you more production. Okay. All right. The third thing I wrote down here, mindset of the millionaires. They're not controlled by the market size or market conditions. This is a big one for some of you. They're not controlled by market size or market conditions. Okay. Well, I'm not in a city that closes 300 transactions a month. Do you know what city doesn't close 300 transactions a month? Glendora. Do you know that we have a team in Glendora that closes $1.5 to $2 million in GCI every year? Do you know that in the city of Glendora, they're one of 4 teams that close over $1 million in GCI a year? And Glendora closes, maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 homes a month. And yet there's 4 teams in that one city. Obviously, they don't just work Glendora. They work the surrounding area, but they're based in Glendora, and there's 4 teams in Glendora that make over $1 million a year. One of them works for our company. So it's not the market size, because keep in mind too that yes, it is nice to work in a market, the out there in Corona and stuff like that, where they've built a lot of new homes and there's a couple hundred homes that close a month. Yeah, that's nice. But that also brings more agents. That also brings more competition. Irvine closes 200 deals a month, where West Covina only closes 40. Okay. Or, basic numbers, roundabout numbers. But there's a lot more agents in Irvine than there are in Covina. So it's not about the market size, because no matter what the market size is, I guarantee that there's an agent that's probably making around $1 million. Okay. Maybe not Baker. Baker, California. I don't know if there's anyone that makes $1 million out there. Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay. But other than that, you get my point. And then they're not concerned about market conditions. Well, there's a lot of inventory. Great. Take listings. Get your buyers into escrow. There's not a lot of inventory. Great. Go take listings. Get your buyers into escrow. Well, it's hard to get buyers into escrow. Okay, then go take more listings. It's not about the market conditions. It's not about the market size, because again, no matter what the conditions are, no matter what the size is, there's things going on. All of 2020 was the greatest example of that particular statement. There were so many people in real estate that quit because, it's COVID. There's no business going on. I'm not talking about the people that were concerned about COVID. If you were concerned about COVID, got sick, or knew someone that was sick and you took 2020 off, that's a different thing. No issues whatsoever. I'm talking about the people that weren't concerned about COVID, just didn't do the work because they didn't think there was anything going on in real estate and blamed COVID on that happening. And yet there were agents that made over $1 million, some of them for the first time ever. It's not about the market conditions and about the market size. Here's another way you can put this. Another way that someone told me this years ago. It's not about the cards you're dealt. It's about how you play your hand. pick a market condition, guarantee there's somebody making $1 million in general Southern California area. Okay. And you could even take that across the United States. Okay. Michigan, Lucy Ham. Lucy Ham's average sales price, I'm not kidding, I think is like $213,000. It's something like that. And she was proud that her average sales price had gone up last year. It's like $213,000. And she makes like $3 million a year in commission. She just sells a bunch of houses. It's not about those things. Okay. You have to get that off your mindset. I tried to have this conversation a little bit last week with the info sparks, and some of you got mad at me. So I'm not going to get off this one. Okay. The next point I put down here, fanatics in relationship to their schedule. Mindset of the millionaires are fanatics in relationship to their schedule. The number one problem for real estate agents is the inability to control their environment. Fanatics about relationship to their schedule. 24 hours is plenty of time in a day to accomplish the important things that you need to accomplish. It may not be enough time to accomplish all the things you want to accomplish, but the things that you need to accomplish, 24 hours is enough. If you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish in a day, it is a scheduling problem, and you cannot make $1 million a year. Probably you can't even make a few $100,000 a year if you don't have control of your schedule. There's just no way, no how. It's got to be fanatical about the schedule. And why that's so important in terms of real estate about controlling your environment is because you can't really get fired. I mean, if we told you, hey, you can't work here anymore, you could just go to the real estate office next door and they would hire you. So you can't really get fired as an independent contractor, which means no one can really force you to be at work at a certain time, to leave at a certain time, to do specific tasks for a day. And not only do you know that, but who else knows that? Everyone in your life. Everyone else in your life knows that you don't have to be at work at a specific time and you can leave whenever you want and you don't have to complete certain things. So if you don't control your environment and control your schedule, it's never going to work to be a high producer because you're going to keep getting pulled away. You're going to have your spouse saying, hey, can you go to the dry cleaner and pick up something before they close? I'm kind of in the middle of something. Yeah, but you can leave whenever you want. Hey, can you go drop something off for me? Can you go pick something up? Can you go do this? I can't go because I'm at my 9 to 5, but you can go. You have freedom and flexibility, which, as you all know, are the 2 F words of real estate. Okay. So you have freedom and flexibility. You could go do those things. If you don't control that, people will take advantage of it, and then you will also take advantage of it. You have to be fanatical about your schedule. So I wrote down here, there has to be a start time and an end time. So just as if like you were an employee of a job and they said, okay, you have to, your day starts at 8:30. Okay, whatever time you start your day, 7:30, 8, 8:30, 9, whatever it is, have a start time. So you have to be in the office, or if you're working from home at your computer, starting your day, whatever it may be, you have to be ready to work at 8:30. That does not mean, okay, well, I've turned on Zoom at 8:30. I'm not ready to work. I don't have my camera on. I'm not really dressed. I haven't had my coffee or my breakfast or anything like that, but at least my computer's on. No. That means you've had your coffee, you've had your breakfast, you're dressed up, and 8:30 on the dot, you're either role playing, you're prospecting, you're doing something productive about your day. And there's an end time. Now, not everyone's going to work 10 hours a day. Not everyone's going to work 8 hours a day. Some of you are going to work 5, 6 hours a day based on your schedule and what you're looking to accomplish, what things you have to do. Some of you have kids that there are no other options, right? You have to be the babysitter, the teacher, the mom, the dad. You have to do those things. So some of you aren't going to work 10 hours a day, but you have to still have an end time. Okay, well, my end time is 5 o'clock. Okay, great. So you're saying, all right, you're going to work from 8:30 to 5. Great. Then let's plan out a day to work from 8:30 to 5. Well, I got to be done by 4 o'clock because I got to pick my kids up at 4:30. Okay, great. Then let's schedule a time from 8:30 to 4, 9 to 4, whatever time you're starting. But you have to be fanatical about your schedule. That's one of the biggest problems that we have in real estate. All right, the next thing I put down here, the mindset of the millionaires, they're not afraid to walk away from a deal. What, Robert, are you nuts? Walk away from a deal? Why in God's name would I do that? No. If you're only closing 1 or 2 deals a year, that makes it hard. But if you're trying to produce at a really high level, sometimes you have to walk away from a deal. I put down here, some deals are not worth the commission checks. Some deals are not worth the commission checks. So think back when you were single, for those of you that are not single. Okay, you see someone that you like and they're super attractive. You're like, all right, yeah. And then they are just the worst personality, rudest person ever. And then you go, you know what? Some people aren't worth the looks. Okay. Now obviously no one's ever felt that way about me because they're not with me for the looks. Okay. But we've all been in that type of situation. So it's the same thing with real estate. Some deals are not worth the commission checks. Some clients aren't worth the money. They will drive you bonkers. They'll drive you crazy. As a recruiter, some agents are not worth the company dollar. We as a company, have let agents go that are almost $1 million producers because they're like, you're just too toxic. So some people are not worth the commission checks. You cannot be afraid to walk away from a deal. Okay. The harder it is to walk, the more attached you are to the outcome. The harder it is to walk, the more attached you are to the outcome. But here's the key point. Here's the key point to remember. There is another deal waiting for you. There's another deal waiting for you. The agents not making the money are not looking. There's another deal waiting for you. And the problem is when you get too caught up in some of these deals that are overly dramatic, take up too much of your time, all these other different things, is you lose a number of deals along the way. Case in point, you working on a client that takes up all your time, all your effort, all your energy, and yeah, you know what, you close, and it closes by the time you get the listing, you go through the escrow, 60 days later, you finally close. That's great. And you think, wow, that's great. I closed the deal. But in that 60 days, you were so drained and negative that you generated no other business. How many other deals could you have generated in that 60 days if you weren't so hung up on this one? So that one, yes, you got money out of it, but how much did it cost you? That's the thing. I do this with some of you all the time on coaching. You'll have leads, and I'll tell you, get rid of it. Get rid of the lead. No. They're eventually going to do something. Get rid of the lead. And you follow up every week. You show them houses all the time. No, they're eventually going to buy. Get rid of the lead. And then you show them. And it'll be 6 months later, and you'll get them in escrow. And then you go, I told you. How many hours did you spend on them? How many hours did you spend? How many houses did you show? Yeah, you got it for $10,000. How much money did you lose? But we don't ever run a profit and loss statement. We just run a profit statement. Some deals are not worth the commission check. You have to be okay walking away from a deal, okay, if you want to produce at a certain level. So the next thing I put down here, they do not sanction incompetence within themselves or anyone around them. Mindset of the millionaires, they do not sanction incompetence within themselves or anyone around them. When you sanction incompetence, you're saying it's okay to screw up. Now, you have to understand, people make mistakes. People make errors. That's part of the business. Somebody makes a mistake, it is what it is. You don't get upset about it. But incompetence is a whole different thing. So what do I mean by incompetence? Incompetence within yourself, whatever area you're working in, a client should be able to come to you and say, what's going on in this city? And you should be able to answer. You should be able to know what the inventory is like, how many homes are selling, what the price ranges is, how much is, somebody should be able to come to you and say, what do you think my home's worth? Well, I'd have to see it. Okay, just ballpark figure in this area, what's my home worth? If you work that area, you should be able to give them a ballpark answer. Incompetence is, well, I don't know what's on the market. I got to go to the MLS. They could go to the Redfin. They could go to Zillow. They don't need you to find a house. That's a kind of incompetence. The client should not know more than you. Incompetence is you should know the contracts. Now, if you're brand new, you're learning the contracts, that's part of learning. But if you've been in business for a certain amount of time, you should know the contracts. You should never get your client screwed on a deal because you didn't do the contract correctly. You should never have Cindy go, what are you doing? That's incompetence. But you also can't sanction incompetence around you, meaning that you can't work with a lender that doesn't know the loan guidelines or keeps sending out pre-approval letters when they're not fully approved. You can't work with title reps that take too long to get back to on your listings. Okay, you can't sanction incompetence around you. You can't have an assistant that doesn't assist, which is a conversation I've had with some people recently. Your assistant doesn't assist. Oh, but I love them. They've been with me for so long. Okay, great. Can't sanction incompetence. Now, this is hard sometimes in our business because the real estate business, the National Association of Realtors, is the head source of sanctioning incompetence. So it makes it harder in our business because the National Association of Realtors essentially says that incompetence is okay in real estate. So this makes it a little bit more difficult, but you have to have that within yourselves that incompetence is not okay. Errors are fine. Basic errors are fine. Incompetence is not. Okay, next point I wrote down here. You have to exercise high levels of versatility. You have to exercise high levels of versatility. So what is the definition of versatility? Well, let me give you Mike Ferry's definition of versatility. It's the ability to work with all types of people, all types of homes, all the time. The ability to work with all types of people, all types of homes, all the time. If you want to produce at a high level, a millionaire level, you need to have high levels of versatility. So what does that mean? That means you can't just work with this demographic. You can't work with just this group of people. You can't work in just this little pocket. You can't work with just these types of homes. You have to work with all types of people, all types of homes all the time. Now, this could come down to part of that is learning the personality styles. If you only can work with expressives, then you only have a 25% audience. Whereas if you know all 4 personality styles and you can work with all 4, you have 100% of the audience. If you can only work with condos and not single family residences, you're putting yourself in a tight group. If you can only work with Chinese speakers and not English speakers, or if you can only work with English speakers and not Chinese speakers or any other particular language, then you're cutting yourself off from particular groups within Southern California. So you have to be able to work with all types of people, all types of homes all the time. Now, it's tough, it's hard, but you have to exercise high levels of versatility. Now, you can do that by learning to ask a lot of questions and listen. Asking a lot of questions and listening will help you develop high levels of versatility. Because when you're talking, typically you're not learning. When you're listening, you are typically learning. Unless you're listening, but not really paying attention. This also comes from exposure to people and ideas. So part of this is to develop high levels of versatility is you have to put yourself in positions that help you create high levels of versatility. So if you just go to, the same restaurant every day, all the time, and you're not, how do you know that if there's any restaurants that are any good? My father is the greatest example of refusing to put himself in a high level of exposure to different levels of versatility. My dad, God bless his soul, is like your stereotypical meat and potatoes guy, right? Steaks, burgers, potatoes, we're good. Dad, we're going to go get some Indian food. No. Come on, Dad, you'll like it. No. Dad, we're going to go for tapas. No. Come on, Dad. No. He just, no. Is the Sizzler still open? He's learned as he's gotten older. Actually, it's funny. Most people get more stubborn when they get older. He's actually become more versatile as he's gotten older. Which is funny. He grew up in Southern California. He grew up in La Puente, and he's a very diverse community. But he just, when it comes to certain things, no, I'm good. So but you have to expose yourself to different people and different ideas. Now this is I put down here, this is a Mike Ferry quote in terms of versatility. He says, every person is losing 20 to 30 deals a year from lack of versatility. You're losing deals every year because of lack of versatility. It's a very, very important thing. Okay. Very, very important thing. Now, the next point I wrote down here is they work daily on thinking big. They work daily on thinking big. So what does that mean? What does that mean, thinking big? Now, we can go into a whole other class in regards to that, but a couple things I wrote down here is expand what you think about to change your results. So expanding, thinking bigger results, bigger outcomes, bigger dreams, bigger goals. Okay. Well, what would you like? Well, I want to eventually have a house at the beach. Okay. That's great. Well, what kind of house? I don't know, any house. No, think bigger. Do you want a house on the boardwalk, or do you want a house that's walking distance? I want a house on the boardwalk. Great. Think bigger. Malibu, over by Crystal Cove has got those mobile homes. They got a mobile home park right there in Crystal Cove. What a wonderful place. I have no idea how much they are. They're probably the most expensive mobile homes in the world. Okay. But think bigger. No, I don't want the mobile home in Malibu. I want the house in Malibu. Okay. So you have to think bigger. I'm just using that as an example. Maybe it's a type of car. Maybe it's a vacation. Maybe it's, I want to be able to pay for my kids to go to college. Well, forget just pay for them to go to college. What's USC, private school? Okay. Now, if you become a celebrity, then you can certainly pay for them to go to USC. Oh, sorry, I couldn't help but say that one. So Cindy's not happy about that. Cindy's not happy about that one. Oh, come on. But you could pay for them, think bigger schools. What other schools, right? So work on thinking big to change the results. Okay. Now, here's something, it's a learned process. Not everyone naturally thinks big. You sometimes have to force yourself to think bigger. Okay, that's just part of the process. But the first step is you need exposure to big thinkers. This brings me back to a line, Neil's talked about all the time. He says, if you're the smartest and richest person in your friends group, you need new friends. Because if you want to think bigger, you have to have exposure to big thinkers and people that do big things. My first exposure of that, my dad thinks big, to some extent, but, he can be very content. But he's got a friend, his best friend, David Junkin, who I admire tremendously, was kind of like my first life mentor. Not like I spent a bunch of time with him where he mentored me day to day, but he's a big thinker. And this guy lives the life, and he's just got this and that. And every time I was around him, I just was glued to him, asking him questions, talking about, well, he's just got, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing this. And this guy's lived the life. Okay. Still lives the life. Just bought another boat, pushed out a brand new boat. And he was out on the water the other day. But, he travels around the world, goes scuba diving. He was, at one point he had a house in France because he was dating a girl there. And I mean, this guy just lives the life, but he's constantly thinking big. You have to expose yourself to people like that. Okay. But this is also something, a very interesting thing in regards to thinking big. That's something that you would probably never think you'd hear a Mike Ferry statement like this. But this is what he said. And I wrote this down, and I even asked him about it to make sure I wrote it down correctly. Mike Ferry said, the most important thing for you to do is not prospecting, not lead follow-up or canned presentation. It's think big. That's the most important thing for you to do. Now, again, I would never think that from, Mike Ferry, because prospecting, lead follow-up, that's it. No. It's not that. The first thing, the most important thing you do is think big. Now, for some of us, thinking big, sounds kind of funny, but to start thinking big, sometimes you have to start smaller. And what I mean by that is, for some of you, thinking big is not about the boat, not about the vacation, not about the education. For some of you, the first part of thinking big is that you can do it. You can actually make real estate a career and not a hobby. You can actually make enough money to have a really good living in Southern California. For some of you, that's the first part of thinking big, that you can do that. Then the next step is, really going outside the box. Now that I know I can do this, what are all the other amazing things I can do? Okay. And part of that, the last point I wrote down here on thinking big is that money is replaceable, experiences are not. But typically you need the money for the experience. Money is replaceable, experiences are not, but typically you need the money for the experience. Okay. Trust me. I've been to Italy twice. Once I stayed in hostels and once I stayed in nice hotels. Two different experiences. Two different experiences.
Where did you go, Robert?
I went to Venice and Rome the first time, and then just Rome the second time.
Sweet.
So two different experiences. So because, both experiences were great, but because I had a little bit more money the second time, the experience was a little bit different, so that was a little bit more fun, but you have to think big, you have to think big. Oh, just a couple more points here and then we'll wrap it up and then we'll finish this off. I thought this was going to be a thing. This is going to be a two-part series. Okay. But the next thing I wrote down here, they don't sweat the small stuff. They don't sweat the small stuff. If you spend all your time on the small stuff, you'll never get to the big stuff. Okay. The small stuff is mainly things that you can't do anything about. What are interest rates doing? It doesn't matter. You don't have anything to do about that. You can't control interest rates. What's this? What's that? All these little things that you don't have any control over. Focus on the big stuff. That's why we always talk about 75% of your day should be on money-making activities. Prospecting, lead follow-up appointments, negotiating, things like that. The small stuff, you just never get to the big stuff. Okay, don't sweat the small stuff. That's an old cliche, but that's the truth. You get upset at some of these really small things. That's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. All right, then the next thing I wrote down here, they spend their time thinking about what they can do, not what they can't. Well, I can't do this. I can't do that. We can't do this. We can't do that. They spend their time thinking about what they can do. Well, we can't do open houses. That's true, but we can door knock. Oh, okay. Well, we can't we can't just go to people's homes and not have to worry about our mask and things like that. That's true. What we can do is virtual presentations. All these other different things. Oh, we can't get our buyers into escrow. They keep getting outbid. Okay, but what we can do is try to go get another listing and then have those buyers fight over your property. It's not about what you can't do, it's what you can do. And sometimes it's just our basic attitude. The smile on your face, the words that you use. Here's a really small example of the type of words that you use that change from what you can't do, what you can do, negative to positive, things like that. Have you ever heard the statement, I'm sure you all have, when somebody has something or does something, they go, oh, that's not bad. Why don't you just say good? Oh, how was that food? Oh, it's not bad. Okay, so it's a negative, not bad. It's a negative thing to say. How about you just say, that was pretty good? So much more positive. You'll never hear me say, oh, it's not bad. Well, how was the traffic? Not bad. I'll just say, oh, traffic was fine. Traffic was good. Or traffic was really, really crappy. But it's just the negative, those little negative statements, what you can do, what you can't do. The smile on your face, how you approach your day. Those are things you can do. You can't control everything, but you can control some things. And sometimes it's just your basic attitude makes the biggest difference. I'm happy all the time. Does that mean my life is good all the time? No. I woke up this morning. This is a true story. I woke up this morning and one of my precious little girls apparently did not let me know, or I just slept through it, that they had to go to the restroom in the middle of the night. So I woke up this morning and stepped off the bed, and you can imagine what I stepped into.
Sorry.
Is every moment of my day going great? No. At that very moment, not a good moment. But I look, it's not the dog's fault. They don't know. They probably tried to go outside and I was just sleeping. So you just go, all right, part of life, clean myself up, get dressed, let's go. Because if I lived in another country, I might not be stepping on dog poo. I might be stepping on landmines. I might be stepping on nails. I might be stepping on bigger problems. So, you know what? Sometimes that's going to happen. But overall, well, life's pretty good. Sometimes it's just the attitude of what you can do, what you can't do, and just looking at things from a different perspective. So you just have to go about things a certain way. All right, so look, so that's a certain portion of the mindset of the millionaire. So we have all kinds of points here. So we'll go through this again next week. Maybe we'll make this Monday, the Monday 12:15 class next week. We'll go through part 2 of this and try to get through the rest of it. But hopefully there's a couple good points in there for you. But I think there's things that we can all work on that help us just move to the next level, whatever our next level is, and we'll do that. So, all right.
Thank you,
All right,
Robert.
everybody.